Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a deep dive into Denis Villeneuve's Arrival.
Yeah, this film is, I think a lot of people consider this a masterpiece.
I think so too. And we're going to be unpacking some of the fascinating concepts that the film explores, like the power of language and the nature of time.
Right, and what it means to truly communicate with an alien intelligence, right?
Exactly.
We're going to be exploring how Arrival takes, like, the typical alien invasion story and just flips it on its head, turning it into this really thought-provoking examination of how we perceive the world around us.
Exactly. So today we're going to be talking about the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, free will versus determinism, and the nature of time. All very heady topics, so buckle up. Okay, so picture this. 12 mysterious alien vessels, shaped like giant seashells, suddenly appear across the globe.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a worldwide freakout.
Right. Naturally, everyone panics. But instead of, launching an all-out attack, world leaders bring in Dr. Louise Banks, who is a brilliant linguist.
Right.
Her mission is to decipher the alien language and figure out what these visitors want.
And this choice right here, I think, sets the stage for Arrival's exploration of language as more than just a way to exchange information. It becomes like a tool to potentially reshape our entire understanding of reality.
Yeah, it's definitely not your typical take me to your leader kind of alien encounter. So these aliens, called heptapods because of their 7 limbs, communicate in a way that completely defies human understanding of language. They use these intricate circular symbols that represent whole ideas.
Right, not individual words like we do.
Right.
And that's where things get really, really interesting. Arrival taps into this idea called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which suggests that the language we speak actually influences the way we think and perceive the world.
Okay, so you're telling me that if we all started speaking heptapod, our brains would start working differently.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but the film definitely plays with that idea. Think about it. Like, we experience time in a linear way, past, present, future. But the heptapods, with their circular language, seem to experience time all at once.
So as Louise starts to decode this alien language, her perception of time begins to change as well.
Precisely. She starts having these vivid flashbacks, or are they flash forwards, of her daughter, Hannah.
Right.
At first, we, the audience, we assume these are just memories from Louise's past.
Yeah. But then there's a twist, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
I remember being completely thrown when I first saw the film.
The film brilliantly manipulates our perception of time, just like it's doing to Louise. As she dives deeper into the heptapod language, those flashbacks are revealed to be glimpses of her future, of a daughter she hasn't even had yet.
Whoa! Okay, so the movie is literally showing us how learning a new language can alter our experience of time itself. That's heavy stuff. And what about this whole idea of the heptapods offering their language as a weapon?
That's another crucial point. The film uses this concept to highlight how human perception, fueled by fear and mistrust, can lead to dangerous misinterpretations. The heptapods offer their language as a tool, a way to see the universe differently. But due to our limited understanding and our tendency to jump to conclusions, we almost trigger a global war.
It's like that classic saying, give a man a hammer and everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
We see the heptapod language through the lens of our own fear and aggression, assuming the worst instead of trying to understand its true purpose.
Exactly. And that's such a powerful commentary on human nature, isn't it? Arrival challenges us to step outside of our preconceived notions, to consider that what we perceive as a threat might actually be an opportunity for growth and understanding.
So we've got this amazing linguist who is starting to see time in a completely different way thanks to this alien language.
Right.
And the fate of humanity is hanging in the balance because of a potential misunderstanding. Where do we go from here? This is definitely a film that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I think really struck me about this film was that Louise's journey isn't just about deciphering an alien language. It's also like a really deeply personal and emotional one.
Right.
As she kind of delves deeper into this heptapod language, she starts to see her own life and her own future in a whole new light.
You're talking about the heartbreaking revelation that her daughter, Hannah, will die young, right?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a gut punch.
I know. Yeah.
Like, the film does not shy away from exploring some really heavy themes.
It doesn't. And what's so fascinating about that is that, this knowledge doesn't paralyze her.
Right.
It actually empowers her to like embrace life more fully.
Right.
You know, knowing the future, even a tragic one, doesn't diminish her capacity for joy,
Right.
for love, for connection.
You know, that's one of the things I love about science fiction.
Yeah.
It can take these like really complex philosophical questions about free will and determinism and the nature of time and weave them into this compelling narrative that makes you feel things so deeply.
Totally.
Yeah.
Arrival asks us to consider, if we knew the future, would it change the choices we make in the present? Would we still embrace life's joys knowing the sorrows that lie ahead?
It's a question that stays with you long after the film ends, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not just the big ideas that make Arrival so powerful.
Right.
It's also the way it uses visuals and sound to create this like really immersive experience for the viewer.
Oh, absolutely. Villeneuve is like a master of atmosphere.
Yeah.
The way he depicts those massive alien vessels hovering over Earth, it's both awe-inspiring and unsettling. It really captures that sense of wonder and uncertainty that comes with encountering something truly unknown.
And the interiors of those ships are equally amazing.
Oh my God.
That vast gravity-defying chamber where Louise and her team first meet the heptapods, it's like stepping into another dimension.
Yes.
I felt like I was right there with them trying to make sense of this alien world.
It's like a brilliant visual representation of the heptapods' non-linear perception of time.
Right.
Even the sound design, the way the heptapods communicate, it's so otherworldly and haunting.
Yeah.
You don't need to understand the words to feel the weight and significance of what they're saying.
So we've talked about the film's exploration of language, its unique approach to time, and the emotional weight it brings to the story. But there's another layer to Arrival that I think is worth unpacking, and that's the theme of global cooperation.
That's a great point. You know, the arrival of these alien vessels throws the entire world into chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Countries are on edge. Mistrust is rampant. And the threat of war looms large.
It's like a pressure cooker of anxiety and fear.
Right.
And it really highlights how easily communication can break down.
Yes.
Even between people who share the same planet.
Exactly. And in the midst of all this uncertainty and tension, Arrival reminds us of the importance of collaboration.
Right.
Of setting aside our differences and working together to face a common challenge.
It's a message that feels especially relevant in our current world, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Arrival shows us that communication, understanding, and a willingness to see things from different perspectives are essential for our survival, not just as individual nations, but as a species.
I think that's one of the things that makes science fiction so powerful.
Yeah.
It can take these real-world issues and explore them in a way that allows us to step back and see things from a new angle.
For sure.
It can challenge our assumptions and make us question the way we think about the world.
And Arrival does that brilliantly.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer easy answers or simplistic solutions, but it encourages us to think critically about the choices we make, both individually and collectively.
Speaking of choices, one of the most thought-provoking aspects of Arrival is how Louise, despite knowing the future, chooses to embrace life's journey with all its joys and sorrows.
It's a powerful testament to the human spirit, to our capacity for love and resilience, even in the face of loss and uncertainty.
And it ties back to the film's overarching message, which is that life is not just about the destination, but about the journey itself, about the connections we make, the experiences we share, and the choices we make along the way.
Exactly. Arrival challenges us to think differently, not just about time and language,
Right.
but about our own lives and the choices we make every day.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the intricacies of language and time to the importance of communication and collaboration. Arrival is a film that packs a lot into its runtime.
It does.
And it's definitely one that rewards multiple viewings and thoughtful debate.
Yeah, it really does make you think about, like, you know, how much of what we think of as reality is just shaped by our own, you know, limited human understanding.
Totally. And that's where Arrival leaves us with this like really thought-provoking question. Remember how Louise gains this ability to perceive time in this nonlinear way?
Right.
Well, what if you had that ability?
Oh, wow.
Imagine being able to see your entire life from beginning to end all at once, knowing all the joys and sorrows that await you. Would you want that knowledge?
That's a really tough question. I mean, like, on the one hand, you know, knowing the future could help you avoid pain and heartbreak. But on the other hand, it could also rob you of the joy of discovery.
Right.
You know, like the excitement of the unknown.
Exactly. And that's the dilemma that Arrival poses. Is ignorance bliss? Or is knowledge, you know, even painful knowledge, ultimately more empowering?
It's really a question that makes you think.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, honestly.
Yeah.
Some people might find comfort in knowing what's coming, while others might prefer to just embrace the mystery of life's unfolding.
That's what makes this film so fascinating.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer any, easy answers.
Right.
It just invites us to grapple with these big questions,
Yeah.
to explore different perspectives and to ultimately come to our own conclusions.
And I think that's the mark of truly great science fiction.
Yeah,
It's not just about spaceships and aliens.
right.
It's about using those elements to explore the human condition, to challenge our assumptions, and to make us think about the world in new and unexpected ways.
Arrival does that masterfully.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a film that stays with you long after the credits have rolled,
for sure.
It makes you re-examine your own beliefs and ponder the vast possibilities of existence.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up our deep dive into Arrival. But before we go, we want to hear from you. Would you choose to know the future, even if it meant knowing heartbreak was inevitable, or would you prefer to savor the mystery of the unknown? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the fascinating worlds that science fiction offers us.